Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be talking about one of the most common problems that I help people solve, which is how to get your horse to be soft in your hands, how to fix a hard mouth horse. So in this video, I'm going to be helping Caira with her Mustang, getting her a little softer to that bit. Let's get started. So this is a really common issue, this idea of let's just unpack what is a hard mouth horse. So I don't love that phrase because I think that people really think like some horses are have harder mouths or something, and that's not true. You know, horses will feel like they have a hard mouth because somebody has been either not trained them or they've been pulling on them and using their reins to manage the horse and control the horse instead of using the reins for a conversation and building communication with them. So reins ideally are mostly for shaping the head and neck, vertical flexion, lateral flexion. Where your horse travels in the arena should come more off of your focus and your legs, and their speed, their impulsion, that should be more of the horse's responsibility. We shouldn't have to rake the horse back with our reins. So Caira, this is my assistant trainer Caira, and she's got her Mustang that she's had for a couple of years, and the Mustang has been tamed now for a couple of years. She came from the wild, that sort of thing. And she recently took a dressage lesson where she struggled to do some of the things because the horse was really kind of heavy in her hands. And so one of the lessons that I was teaching Caira was how to get her horse softer, keeping in mind that this horse is a little bit challenging. And Caira, why don't you come on over here and just tell us a little bit of kind of some of the challenges that you've been having as you get into some of the upper level movements with her. So what is she good at?
Well, she's super confident and she's had a lot of exposure to a lot of different environments. I've had her at a feed yard, I've taken her to different events and stuff, and she's really good with that. But
so she's confident trail riding, working cows, that sort of thing, but she's not super confident with
contact,
yielding, soft feel, or vertical flexion.
I've kind of run into problems as I start being more specific with her on like position and good, I guess, posture in different things like spins and stuff. I've done a lot of freestyle with her, and now that I'm getting more picky with like soft transitions and shaping her up before I lope off, she's gotten kind of bracy, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that comes a little more from she's not a super easy horse, and so when Caira's riding her around at here where we ride all the time and things are we're not really challenging her with anything, it goes pretty well. Everything's fine, hunky-dory. But in this particular case, went to a new environment and you have to immediately walk in the arena and you're on and it's do it this way, and you don't have all the normal prep stuff that we do and that sort of thing. And so it becomes a more challenging situation, which is where that kind of got difficult. So the lesson that I was giving Caira on how to get her horse softer, that I kind of went, oh, we should film this, I think you guys would enjoy watching it, is on how to build softness in a horse and building a little more depth of it. And so I want to show you something quick with my horse here. There's a little bit of a misconception that the only way we get a horse softer is by, pulling on the horse with our reins or getting a harsher bit, or some horses just can't be soft to it. And that's not true. Horses get bracy, and when I say the word bracy, that means to me the horse is not just leaning on it, they're scared and they're defensive. And when a horse is in that mental state of being kind of concerned, they're not thinking about how uncomfortable it is to have that pressure in their mouth, okay? They're just thinking about being kind of worried. And so one of the ways that we can use to build kind of depth of understanding there, now you can see Sage, if I just pick up the reins here, you can see she just gets soft right away. Now this isn't like dressage horse contact stuff. This is more of a Western style feel where we want her to be able to stay in the frame, through more extreme maneuvers like spins and rollbacks and things like that. So it's not like I'm asking her to collect and engage here, okay? I'm just asking her kind of for some softness here. So I'm sure I'll get some comments down below about that. But it is a different thing, and people can argue with me all they want, but it is a different feel that you're looking for. So we are not going for the dressage contact collection feel. We're going for communication. That can we have a conversation about where our horse's body is at through different movements. That's what we're going for. And so if we were just using the reins, we get to a point where we hit a threshold where that's not enough, and the horse is just going to lean and brace into it. And then the more time we spend with the horse doing that, we end up practicing that more and more, right? And so what I'm going to have Caira do is I want her to pick up her reins very softly and just make a very light contact. And from there, I'm going to have her squeeze with her legs and ask her horse to round through her barrel, her rib cage, and her back, okay? And this horse is just learning this, so it might take a second or two, but what I don't want Caira to do, and here's the challenge for the rider, is don't take more rein. It's human nature to use our hands more and use our biceps and pull. And we have to have a feel of holding here. So we're holding here and then we're squeezing with our legs here. So you can see my horse kind of shape up there and not think about, she didn't think about speeding up or pushing into it, which is the other situation that this Mustang gets pretty speedy. And it's very easy for them to think legs mean go. And so you don't want to get in this deal of just managing that with your reins. So let's go ahead and see if you can walk her around in a circle. And one of the little pro tips that we're going to do, or techniques that we're going to do, is she's going to bend her on a circle kind of more exaggerated. So you're going to walk a small circle, a lot of lateral flexion, okay? Using your inside leg there. This is where the conversation starts, by the way, okay? And then it builds to 2 reins. So now I want Caira to add in her outside rein and just have a light feel, and you're just gonna squeeze with both legs. Hug your horse, if you will. There, she got soft to you. And now just kind of ask her to maintain it. So I'm not looking for the horse to just hold the contact. I want her to actually give it and put slack in the reins. That's going to tell me that the horse is really understanding this. So just squeeze with your legs there. And then you can practice turning her loose there and then picking up again when it feels good, okay? Now this horse has kind of got this figured out at a walk, but the trot is a little bit more challenging. And so if you're trying to increase the difficulty of this, Caira, maybe you could kind of come over here and ride in this corner here. And so I'm going to ask you to kind of just play with that, and I'm going to kind of talk about what you're doing at walk and trot. So by adding speed to it, going from a walk to a trot, that's going to increase the difficulty. Adding straightness to it is going to increase the difficulty. So if you leave that small circle and you go on to a bigger circle or a straight line, it's going to get harder there as well. And then the most difficult place to maintain this is through transitions, okay? So see if you can get her soft in your hands there. Yep, really good. And now ask her into a trot. So she got a little heavier there. Did you feel something change there?
Yeah, I did.
Talk us through kind of what you felt there.
I felt her kind of push.
Like right there, she's kind of sticking her nose out a little bit more.
Yeah.
So if that happens, that's when I want you to bend her on a slightly smaller circle. Or even, not even slightly, but a lot smaller circle. Oh, we got a little blowout there. And then you're going to kind of squeeze with your legs. Squeeze. Because she's kind of wearing it right now. Good. And make sure you're holding with your hands and not pulling. That is the big key. Squeeze and hold. Be patient there, and then come down to a walk when she gets soft to you. Hold it. So you can see her mare there thought faster, and that's going to be a really common thing that a lot of horses do, is they're going to think speed up. And so Caira just stuck with it, and she put her on an even smaller circle at that point. You can come down to a walk. So to me, that was starting to take a little bit too long, so you're better off retreating and doing what we would call a recovery strategy, where she's going to bring her down to a slower speed and recover, get the horse to get a little more settled, get her to give to that on a smaller circle and not keep going. The question that you ask the horse has to be achievable in a short enough time that this is kind of that balance that we try to strike of, you want to give the horse the opportunity to explore and choose the right thing, so we're going to allow them to make mistakes. but we don't want them to be wrong for too long. And that's kind of the sweet spot. If you don't let them make a mistake, what's that called?
Micromanaging.
Okay. So if you're just micromanaging them the whole time, you know, you might walk away from the ride feeling successful that you did the thing you wanted for 10, 20 minutes. But if you ask the horse what they did, and they would like, I have no idea, you know, they was just following directions. Kind of like when a GPS is telling us, go right, go left, turn your turn there. And then you wouldn't be able to turn around and drive that without the GPS because you were being micromanaged by the GPS, which we all, well, at least I do, enjoy doing that, so I don't have to think about where I'm going. But we don't want to micromanage our horse. We want to give them responsibility. But sometimes when we ask them that question, it can get difficult and we need to retreat and recover and slow things back down. So at any time you're doing this, when you start adding challenges like transitions or faster speeds, you can retreat back to a walk or a smaller circle anytime. Now, if you don't need to go on a circle, that would be great. That would be even better. But I'm just saying that you need to understand that asking a horse for a soft feel on a straight line is harder than asking a horse for a soft feel, or what I call soft feel, on a small circle. So it's your choice to kind of choose that level of difficulty, and you have to kind of explore and push the boundaries a little bit to kind of find out where everything's at. Okay, so why don't you try that trot again, Caira? See if you can keep her soft there. See if that can go a little better this time. Now, if her mare tries to kind of raise up like that, I want Caira to set a little stronger boundary. To me, Caira's being a little bit too flexible with her hands there. And when she went into that transition, it was a little bit too okay for that horse to lengthen out and be there. I want Caira to set that boundary. So not pulling, let me be clear about that. You're trying to kind of be a post there. You're setting that boundary, but when you feel that weight in your hands, you're not gonna take it stronger, you're gonna add your leg until that horse gets softer. And what this does is it teaches a rider to be really light and polite with her hands and really soft there, where you're not putting brace by pulling. It's a massive difference to your horse. Your horse will really appreciate this. There, I'd say that's a little better. Does that feel a little softer in your hands there?
It does.
Okay. I think she could still be shaped up a little bit more, but I want that extra flexion to come through your legs, not from your hands. But I think you need to expect her to be there a little bit more. She's kind of getting a little bit long. That's better. That's better. I like that. Did that feel then heavier there?
She feels like she's going faster now.
Okay.
Out of that turn.
Yeah, they are going to want to speed up as you bring your legs on, and that's part of the lesson here. Is it's them understanding that they can give more to the bit through our legs, but it's also understanding that legs don't mean go unless there's other indicators that we're saying go, like our posture, our focus, you know, just our seat. You know, our seat is kind of what dictates the pace that we should be going, not so much our legs. Now again, if you have a lazy horse, you might use your riding crop or something to say keep the horse going, not more leg there. So this is why it's hard to write a book on horse training, because there's so many variables, so many situations, like what did the horse know beforehand? You know, what's that horse's personality, and factoring all this into the lesson that you come up with. Let's go ahead and do a change of direction through the middle and put her on a left rein and see left bend and see how she can do it on the left. You will find that some horses are going to be easier or harder on one side or the other. That's fairly typical. Okay, so that got a little harder. So if you start to feel like it's too hard, you feel free to bend her down to a walk again and ask her to get soft there. Yep. And so for me, even though Caira is cantering this horse a lot, I don't think she should work on canter with this. I think she should stay at walk and trot, and it's actually probably mostly walk right now, because walking is where we can spend the most time doing the right thing. And we want to build that and strengthen that connection with the horse's brain, that synapses that says pressure coming out with the reins can mean get softer, not brace up. And so she's got to play with the level of difficulty and make sure that's achievable. And you can see at a walk here, it's much better. She's a lot softer. The horse is giving better there. And then start to play Caira with not micromanaging her with your legs, but giving her a chance to just kind of maintain the walk there. So when your legs are off, that horse should still maintain their speed and not slow down. So we can't micromanage them with our legs either. So once you get her where you feel really soft in your hands, then go ahead and ask her back into a trot. And I would do that but with maybe a voice cue for now, like a little cluck, not more leg. Oh, that was good. That was good. She didn't get super speedy. There you go. Super. And then from there, again, you can experiment with going out to a bigger circle, or if it gets to where it feels starting to feel strong in your hands or heavy there, then you can come back down to a walk in that smaller circle. So let me just show everybody real quick here. One of my favorite techniques. I'm not going to continue on. If I try for maybe a lap or maybe like 5 to 10 seconds and that horse is still feeling heavy, like especially let's say we're playing with this at a trot here and that horse starts to feel heavy, I'm going to bend them down and I'm going to recover, okay? Because you have to understand that braciness is coming from the horse being a little bit unsure, getting maybe a little emotional. And the more we can kind of unlock their hindquarters and their rib cage, that's where the softness comes from, because it's getting the horse to change mental states where the horse is in a more relaxed, more comfortable mental state here on this smaller circle. That's why we call it a recovery strategy. And that's where that horse can then get soft. And this was not easy for this particular horse. She's just been practicing a lot, so she's getting pretty good at it. But she naturally is similar to Caira's horse, where it's easy for her to get a little bit bracy there. So at any time, you can just feel free to bend them down to a more achievable pattern. Okay, now let's give you a test here, Caira. Go ahead and stop her. And I want you to play with can you make that light touch with the reins and then squeeze with your legs and create that softness at a standstill. So very slow with everything here. Now add your legs and see if she'll get soft in your hands from your legs. Now tell us what you're feeling there.
She's wanting to go still.
She wants to go. So there we go. So this is the understanding that we're trying to create with this horse is when Caira brings her legs on, she thinks go faster. And this comes into a lot of challenges when Caira starts trying to do maneuvers. So this is going to be one of the main things. Go ahead and keep working on that, Caira. This is going to be one of the main things that we need to create more understanding with this horse, is that legs on means soften, not go faster. Very good. So Caira's squeezing with her legs, waiting for that horse to get soft. She's not taking more rein other than setting a bound. There you go. Turn it loose. I wouldn't let her walk off like that though.
Okay.
Because that's I think there she still was left with the thought that rein or legs can mean go faster. And to me there, you're doing that with your hands, not your legs. I think you need to get that with your legs more.
If she goes forward, then do I pick up more?
Then you set the boundary with your hands. But I think you're trying to do it really like politely. And you have to really be willing to put your legs on there and really get her to understand that does not mean go forward. Hold, yep. Just wait for her to get really settled into it right there. Now, let your legs go before you let your hands go.
Okay.
Because if we leave this mare with walking off at the end, she's going to think that movement going forward is where the relief came from. And that's not what we want her to be thinking about. Okay, almost there. Stick with it. Now let go of your legs. And now release your hands. Oh, that was better. So there's a timing and a sequence to this, isn't there?
Yeah.
So this is why this isn't very easy to do. I think this is the ability to create soft horses. And again, Caira's mare is not super easy, which is actually, I'm always telling Caira that I really like that for Caira because it challenges Caira to be very accurate. There's a lot of horses that are pretty easy to create softness with. Then there's some horses that are very difficult to do this with. And her mare ends on the side of more difficult. You know, again, she was a wild horse for several years, you know, and kind of challenging that way. So that all plays into it. But the three factors that we have to play with is there's what order, the sequence of what order did the cues come on. So the reins are going to be first and then reins are going to release last. Okay. So the cue still comes from the reins, but the kind of correction, if you will, is going to come from our legs. So if she's feeling heavy in our hands, our legs are going to come on, not our reins. Okay. Then the second part is the feel. It's like, well, how much of each of those do you do? How much leg do you put on? You know, what is your kind of life and intention in your body? And then the third part is the timing. Is like, when do you stop doing it? I guess there's actually a fourth factor, which is what pattern are you riding on? Because you could pick patterns that are too easy and then you try something harder and then it falls apart because you didn't develop this at a level within the difficulty of the pattern. Yeah, and then the timing. And I think you needed a little adjustment there in the sequence and the timing. So let's go ahead and try that again. So you're going to pick up the reins first. Very soft. Now start to squeeze with your legs very slowly. Everything is very slow with this too. Give that horse plenty of time to think, oh yeah, turn it loose, turn it loose. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I did.
That was her being very clearly giving, and it came from your legs. You started to bring your legs on and the horse gave and got soft and she didn't think about going forward. So to me, that was one of the best moments of the horse having a good understanding. And those of you that have been following this channel, you guys know that I'm a big believer in horses are not anxious because of the pressure. Horses are anxious when they don't understand pressure. And so that's what we're trying to do, is just get this mare to understand this pressure at a deeper level so that when Caira's trying things that are harder, again, some of the Western movements like stops, lead changes, turnarounds, she can have a conversation and not just have to rely on her hands to create that softness. You can start to bring your leg on if she starts to feel heavy.
Yeah, that was great. That definitely felt way better. I think I easily fall into a trap when she gets speedy to like let off with my legs.
Yeah.
And that's reinforced to her a lot of brace.
Yep.
And so just trying to remember to stick with it and don't let off just because she's speeding up.
Yeah, that's a really good point that you just made, is that she talks you into riding and kind of putting your legs off of her and not touching her, because it's like, oh, she's going to think I said go. And what's ironic is if you have a horse that is more go-y, you need to put your legs on them more, not less, because you need to develop. And that's the same thing is true for this mare, is when we ride her, we have to practice putting our legs on and maybe saying it means head down. See, like right there, she thought forward, but my seat and the rest of my life didn't say go forward. So I'm gonna have this conversation that legs on there, and I'm not putting my spurs on her. I'm just squeezing my kind of calf muscles on her, and I'm just saying that could mean head down, just to give her another thought that it's like legs don't always mean go. So I would encourage you to do this with her too. Just find lots of ways to put your legs on her. You could also do it like if you have a horse that really thinks legs mean go, is you could be backing them up and put your legs on. So it's like, oh, legs on means back up, not go forward. And it just offsets that thought that they are already wanting, that's natural to them, of thinking when they feel the rider bring their legs on, it's just go faster. And we just need to keep that in balance, okay? You could do what I'm saying too much. Again, some of you are probably gonna comment that, oh, well, no, my horse won't go ever. It's like, everything is about balance, balancing a horse. If you have a horse with a lot of go and everything means speed up and that's not what you said, you didn't say speed up, well then you need to offset it with some of these other cues and requests. If you have a horse that's more lazy and you want to go and they don't want to go, well then you wouldn't do that. You would get them to understand legs mean go. So this is the art of horsemanship and the challenge that we have. But hopefully these tips give you guys some help, and I know your horses would appreciate us doing less with our hands and riding more off of our seat and our legs. I think that's what horses prefer by far. Yeah, anything else you want to add to it?
No, I think I have plenty of homework. with that.
So people watching this video, what do they need to do?
Don't let off with your leg if you feel they're getting speedy.
And hit that subscribe button.
Oh, and like and subscribe.
All right.
Whoops.
All right, well, thanks for being a good sport about this, Caira. It's hard to put yourself out there and let everybody see what you're working on. But Caira was willing to show this. I thought this would be a good lesson for you guys to hear as well. So thanks, Caira, for joining in.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We'll see you all in the next one.